Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Owen talks about sports and movies. Thank you for checking out today's video. All the support is greatly appreciated. Alright, let's get into the video. So, this was a post I saw after game 2, after the Milwaukee-Miami series. And it says, Giannis got that look LeBron had that year when the Celtics crushed him and he left the Cavs. And I think that pretty much sums up that series for the Bucks and the continued playoff frustrations for Giannis and Milwaukee. You know, after 2 years of having the best record in the league, just to not make it to the finals, I think they're the first team in NBA history to do that. Giannis is probably about to win back-to-back MVPs. All that combined with his not-so-great play in the playoffs and his supporting cast not-so-great play in the playoffs, you have to ask the question, what does Giannis Antetokounmpo do now? Where does he go from here? So this video is going to answer that question. It's going to cover his future with the Bucks, possible destinations if he leaves, and improvements for his games. Alright, let's get into the rest of it. So I think really what the Miami series this year and the Toronto series from last year show is just how you stop Giannis. You know, it's easy to say, oh, you just got to pack the paint. But the thing is, you have to create a wall around the paint. You can't just sit in the paint and then allow him to get inside of there and just finish through you. Miami and Toronto last year were uniquely equipped to do that. And not every team can do this. For example, the Magic were not they did not have the guys to do this. But Toronto last year, Miami this year, they created a wall around the paint, so then Giannis couldn't even get in there and then drive and kick. And then even when he was in the post, you know, Giannis is not a super great post passer out of the post, so when they doubled, he wasn't finding his guys just super great. And I think that's the thing why Milwaukee dominates so good in the regular season, and in the playoffs they tend to struggle because teams can't figure out. Teams don't have enough time to pour in a super in-depth strategy to stop Giannis just for one game. But whenever they have a playoff series and then they realize they have the guys, they kind of have some bigger wings or maybe a quicker bigs and stuff like that, like Miami and Toronto did, then they can develop their strategy, how they're exactly going to do the wall strategy with their guys, and it works. Giannis did not play great in this series. He was limited last year in the Toronto series, and I think mainly that comes down to the fact and that they can do that strategy to Giannis, the fact that Giannis has got to improve his shooting. He has got to get significantly better with his jump shot and with his free throws. And I think the thing about Giannis is that he's not bad when he's spotting up, but he takes way too many dribbles or too many threes off the dribble. And that's just not a good idea. You know, that's just not his strength. You know, he just needs a spot-up guy. The only problem is he's the only dominant ball handler on their team. And so when your only dominant ball handler can't really shoot, your spacing is bogged down, and Giannis doesn't have a chance to really do anything, excuse me, from a spot-up perspective. So then he ends up taking, you know, a good portion of his threes are off the dribble, and then he's just not a good enough shooter. And stuff like that. I mean, his rookie year, Giannis shot 37% from 3, and he's never shot above that before. And he's really changed his shooting form, and it just looks bad. Yeah, he needs to go back to his old mechanics, just kind of retool his shooting form. And I think that if he did that, then you know they couldn't just pack the paint so bad, just because then they'd have to respect his outside shot. And I think another thing Milwaukee needs for Giannis to stay is they need someone else to handle the ball. I'm talking about like a dominant perimeter player. Someone else that can handle the ball so Giannis doesn't have to take it from the top of the key and then try to drive in there into a packed paint. I saw this thing, when during the regular season, is like Giannis is the greatest paint scorer since Shaq. He has it was 20 points per game in the paint, which is insane. But then it said that Giannis and Shaq are getting his points differently. Shaq's average touch started within 5 feet of the basket. Giannis is catching it at the top of the key and then going and doing its thing, which is great for the regular season when everybody's not playing as good defense. The defense isn't as good, and you're not playing a good defensive team night in and night out. That's just not going to work anymore. It's just simply not. These past 2 playoff runs have shown that. So what Giannis needs, what the Bucks need for Giannis to stay, because if they don't do this, he will leave, and he will be gone, and he will never come back to Milwaukee. They need a dominant ball handler. I don't know who they trade for. Blockbuster trades kind of happen out of thin air in the NBA. But it seems like maybe Oklahoma City's about to blow it up, which is interesting. So maybe Chris Paul will be available. Maybe they can get Bradley Beal from the Wizards. I don't know. Whoever they feel like they can get. Because in this way, Giannis does not have to handle the ball. He can catch the ball from about the free throw line down and then just be absolute dominant in the paint. Because Giannis is dominant in the paint, but right now he can't get into the paint during these deep playoff runs against these good defensive teams because he can't just dribble in there and just the charging bull strategy does not work in the playoffs anymore. So that's just definitely some improvements and some things that Milwaukee's going to have to do to keep Giannis. I think Giannis has to leave Milwaukee because I don't think they would ever make a move like that. They're pretty cheap. They have not built a great roster for Giannis. I think some of their parts are greater than the individual pieces, and that's fine during the regular season when their strategy works. But when in the playoffs, when your strategy doesn't work, then those guys can't overcome that, and the Bucks can't. They can't really play any differently, and so it kind of sucks. And yeah, I know they have Chris Middleton, but he's not. He's not the type of perimeter threat I'm talking about. But if they could get, I'm just gonna throw some names out there: Chris Paul or Bradley Beal or Damian Lillard. Not that I think the Blazers would trade him, but you know what I'm saying. Someone who's like a very legitimate perimeter threat. I think that the Bucks could be super good, and I think that would make Giannis a lot better because then he wouldn't have to worry about handling the ball. He could really just kind of work on spot-up shooting, and then if he could add a spot-up 3 to his game, like a consistent 37+ percentage, Giannis could be super dangerous. So that's kind of his future with the Bucks and his improvements for the game. So now we're going to move into possible destinations. Now, I think that based off of what Giannis said this morning about not wanting to leave Milwaukee this offseason, he's not going to ask for a trade. I think he's setting himself up to just leave and just sign in free agency. So where does that leave him? Where would he like to go? I think it's kind of harder to predict next year, but maybe I think hell, who knows? He may still get traded, but I would say either if this offseason or the next, I think the biggest destinations or the most likely are probably Miami or Toronto. I think that especially if he gets traded there instead of just walks and then signs in free agency. But if someone's going to make a trade, I think it would be probably Miami or Toronto. I think, Miami's got, a dominant ball handler, Jimmy Butler. They got Goran Dragic. Bam's in that picture, but they would probably have to trade Bam to Milwaukee in that trade to get Giannis. But, I think they do that. So, excuse me. And then Miami, they've got a winning culture. They know how to win in the playoffs. Obviously, they got to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. They've got a great culture. Same thing with Toronto. Toronto has quietly turned itself into one of the best franchises into the league. Player development, coaching, playoffs, everything like that. Toronto is doing great things now. I think that if Toronto could pair him with someone, you saw what Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet and OG Adebayo and guys like that did next to a Kawhi Leonard. Pascal Siakam. I think Giannis would fit great there. And defensively, that would be an insanely good team. Toronto's already super great at defense. You throw in Giannis, Defensive Player of the Year this year. I think he'd be outstanding. And maybe some longer shot destinations. Obviously, the Warriors. That's been a topic of discussion lately. I don't think the Warriors could trade for him. I don't think a package of Andrew Wiggins and a number one pick would be enough to get Giannis. I think they probably have to throw in Klay Thompson in there too. But if they could get him in free agency, they would definitely move the pieces around just to get, to move whoever else they needed. And, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson would literally be a perfect fit with Giannis, like what I was talking about, a dominant perimeter ball handler. The best backcourt in the league when healthy. I think that's pretty good perimeter help. And then Dallas. Rising star in Luka. They're a well-ran franchise. Dallas has had a hard time getting free agents in the past. But I think maybe now with Luka, they've got a bright future and everything. With Luka and Kristaps and Giannis, I think that could be super dangerous. And then you never know. They're, maybe the free agency class, maybe some other guys opt out, and Giannis can form his own super team where, kind of like where Kyrie and KD just joined up in Brooklyn. That was kind of random. No one saw that. So, maybe there's another team that's kind of maybe putting themselves in a position and we just really don't see it yet. And who knows? So, basically, all I said was that Giannis just needs to improve his shooting. He needs a dominant ball handler. I think he's going to leave Milwaukee at some point, even if it's not this year. Miami and Toronto and Golden State and Dallas are probably the best suitors. And so I got for you today. Thank you for checking out today's video. Make sure you do everything that little banner said in the middle. Check out the link content right here. Thank you so much, and you have a great day.